Hey guys, so I'm back with my commentary on part two of the Cowboy transcript testimony. Sorry it took me so long, but I got kids, so y'all just bear with me. So I'm gonna start out by just recapping really quickly. If you're just tuning in, this is news for your ass, and so we can pick up right where we left off. So I'll set the scene for you. Nipsey Hussle pulls up to the store. He gets out his car. He goes over to greet Rimpao. Now, everybody's asking whether Rimpao is the one who called him up there. I don't know yet. I haven't gotten to Rimpao's statement, but I will definitely, that's one of the main questions that I'll be looking out for. So, y'all stay tuned and I'll try to answer that question for you as well because I want to know too. So, anyway, Nipsey gets out, he greets Rimpao. Cowboy comes out of the store. They're all three out there talking. We know that Eric Holder approaches. He's in and out all over the place. He's in the Master Burger. He's going back to the car. He's coming back over to Nipsey. Shortly after that, Kerry Lathan arrives with his nephew Shermy. We know that Kerry Lathan never took his ass in the store. He immediately got out the car and went over there to Nipsey. And now it's Rimpao, it's Nipsey Hussle, it's Cowboy, and we don't know where Shermy is at this time. And so as soon as Kerry Lathan walks up, Eric Holder immediately walks away. Now, we know from the transcript that Eric Holder walks over to the white car again. Now, if you back up and you go back to Baylette Starr's testimony, she states that he walked back over to her car because he didn't have enough money to pay for his food. So she said she had to give him some money. So then we know he walks back into the Master Burger. So now it's Kerry Lathan, Nipsey Hussle, Rimpao, and Cowboy. Now, Eric Holder, as we all know, he walks back over to the circle and he daps up Rimpao. We know from the prosecutor, as he's asking Cowboy this, he's showing him the videotape. We know that as soon as Eric Holder walks away, after he daps up Rimpao, the prosecutor says he has something in his hand. That's where I said I believed it to be the gun. Again, Eric Holder walks away. It's Rimpao, Kerry Lathan, Cowboy, and they're standing there. All of a sudden, this is when Cowboy makes his exit, and that's where we're going to pick up. So, according to Cowboy, he leaves. Now, mind you, he said that he had a gut feeling he was trying to get Nip to go in. He looked in Eric Holder's eyes and he felt like something wasn't right, but people just kept coming up to Nip. So basically, he just didn't, act on that impulse. He just went on like everything was okay. But he swore up and down they don't play the parking lot like that. It wasn't a good thing to do. So I just can't understand why you left him out there with all of these snakes. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into Cowboy's testimony. He said, so at this point, he walks into the store and he made such a big deal. All he did was go put his food down and then he heard shots. Well, this nigga tells the grand jury that he went back there to eat his lunch. So he went all the way, like he said, in the break room. He went through the insurance door, then he went to the break room. He states that he sat down to get ready to eat his salad. He had a tostada salad. So he went back there to sit down. So I'm like, well, that sounds like a whole lot longer than 3 seconds. But I tried to give him a pass on that. But nigga, you went back there with no intentions on coming right back up, as you said, just to go put your food down. So at this point is when he says he hears shots ring out. And then he says that he runs to the front of the store. But that can't be because the way you said it, you heard more shots and you heard more shots. We know that Eric Holder, he ran up, he shot, he left, he came back again, he left, and then he came back again. So unless the back of the store is like a mile away from the front door, like you had to do a whole lot of, I don't understand how you did that much running and the store is only but so big. But we're going to go with that was your testimony. So at this point, he states that he hears the shots, he runs out, and he sees the back of Eric Holder's head. He's running away. And the prosecutor is trying to point out, well, how do you know that, that's Eric Holder? He's like, I just know. I know him when I see him. And he's like, we just had a conversation with him, but I know him when I see him. So you said that, like, yeah, you knew him. And yeah, you told us you knew him, but you said he was just some old rapper, like you really didn't know him that well. But now you're saying you know him when you see him. And you got some questions that you need to clear up, Cowboy, because this is really some crazy, fucked up shit. You should have never left Nip out there. But anyway, Cowboy states he hears the shots. He runs up, and the prosecutor asks him, what does he see? The first thing he says is he sees Nip on the ground. That's all he remembers seeing is Nip on the ground. The prosecutor makes it a point to ask him, does he see anybody else on the ground? He said no. At that time, I really couldn't say. At that time, like I said, I just looked up and I remember seeing Nip, my boy, on the ground. So he, according to him, he doesn't even see Kerry Lathan on the ground. And I don't understand how you could have not, if he was literally, from what we saw, laying right there next to Nip, how could you have not have saw him? But that's Cowboy's testimony. So he then states that when he sees Nip on the ground, he runs over to him because, again, the prosecutor is showing him this footage as he goes along. And so he says, well, what we see is you standing over him. And he's like, yeah, I'm rendering first aid to him. And I'm like, well, damn, if you're standing over him, how is it that you're rendering first aid? And a lot of people were wondering, was he going through Nip's pockets and stuff? And according to him, he was giving Nip first aid. But, I'll let you guys be the judge of that. And so then he states that he saw a bullet hole between Nip's arm, and he was holding the blood in the bullet hole, according to Cowboy. He also said that he saw a bullet hole in Nip's stomach, and I guess he was just trying to hold the bullet hole that was under Nip's arm, hold that in so the blood wouldn't come out. And so it's just, Cowboy is just all over the place. You got some explaining to do, nigga. And if you really love Nip the way you said that you did and you wrote for him, then 10 years from now, when Cross is old enough to see this, you need to stand up like a fucking man and answer some questions. Take your ass over there on Hood Talk News and set up an interview and answer some questions. Ain't nobody gonna ask you about nothing but you. You ain't gotta expose nobody else, because leave that up to me. I have no problem with doing that. Because, yes, Kerry Lathan is up next, and y'all not going to want to believe the testimony that he gave. Because, unlike on his Vlad TV interview, he couldn't have Big U in the courtroom with him. And so we already know how he speaks. He basically told it on himself. But I'll save that for part 2. But anyway, so at the end of the day, Cowboy states that he's out there holding Nipsey, but Sam hops up on the scene and he's there in less than minutes. So that was true. And he made everybody clear out the way, and he tended to his brother until the paramedics rolled up. But of course, who was first on the scene? The police. But again, we'll get back to them because that's another witness on the list. Like I said, up next, Kerry Lathan. Y'all stay tuned. This is news for your ass.